So on Saturday I went camping, and we camped right next to this river, and there's some really steep terrain next to the river, and just getting down to the river you've got to like cling on to branches and rocks, and getting up back from the river you got to cling on to different branches and rocks, and it's really tedious. And it actually left my hand with some markings, with some cuts and some bruises, and using the hand the next day was kind of painful, just to wash my hands it stung, to take a shower it stung. I didn't even want to put sunscreen on because just the thought of that felt uncomfortable. Like putting on and taking off clothes sucked, grappling things sucked. And today I'm noticing the hand is mostly healed, and it actually does not hurt to grab anything. It does not hurt to take a shower anymore. It doesn't hurt to use it anymore. And I couldn't help but make the connection between my hand healing and noticing that our body has like this natural inclination to heal. Our body has a natural way of mending itself, of returning back to a state of healthiness. Like my hand. When I initially cut my hand, there was probably white blood cells, red blood cells going to the cuts, and they were doing their thing, and they healed. And similarly, I feel that psychological trauma is very much like the cuts on my hand, except psychological trauma is a physiological phenomena that occurs in the brain, and it has effects in our mind. It has effects on how we feel in the world, in our existence, and how we see the world and others and ourselves, how we perceive. But yet I know that within me, I know just with my being that even psychological trauma heals. Like it's our body naturally heals psychological trauma, just like the way my body naturally healed my hand, and the different physiological processes in my body healed my hand. Same thing goes for the mind. Nature finds a way towards healing and recovery, and that looks different in the brain. Maybe in the brain it looks like neural pathways dwindling away, negative neural pathways that contribute to negative emotion or negative thoughts, negative beliefs. Maybe those dwindle away. Maybe neuroplasticity, which is the process of new neuronal synaptic connections growing, maybe that is kind of the equivalent to the white blood cells and the red blood cells coming in and healing the tissue. Maybe the brain has other ways of healing. And I think it's such a beautiful thing that this is just kind of nature at its core. Like even when a forest gets destroyed by fire, eventually the rains come through, sediments get spread, seeds get spread. I'm not an environmentalist, I don't know how to describe it, but nature finds a way back into flourishing again. And I feel that our body is nature, and our body has that instinctual desire to want to return back to healthiness, want to return back to a state of well-being, a state of tranquility, a state of homeostasis. And I thought it was so cool just using my hand today, and I didn't even notice that my hand was okay. But I remember on Sunday morning, the first thing I noticed was that my hand wasn't okay. And that's kind of how psychological trauma is. When we are undergoing an incredibly hard life circumstance, that we wake up first thing in the morning thinking about that. But then as we heal, our mind naturally is able to not be impacted as much by negative thoughts or negative emotions or flashbacks or nightmares, or whatever you may have in. Maybe we're not as avoidant, and this is through the process of time, natural process of time. And the beautiful thing is that we actually make decisions that influence whether our body is able to repair itself. We make decisions that influence how quickly it's able to repair itself, if it's able to repair itself. Like, I wonder, had I went back into the woods and grappled with the branches and the rocks again, obviously this probably wouldn't have repaired as quickly. I wonder if I wouldn't have gone the quality sleep I had gone the past 2 days, if this would have repaired itself as quickly, or what other things I could have done in order to block this from repairing, and what things I did do in order to help it repair. I ate some healthy food, I rested, I didn't expose my hand to more external things that can harm it even more. And I can't help but make the connection back to psychological trauma. Like, what are decisions that get in the way of our healing? I know, guys, are two different things, but hey, man, our brain is a part of our body, your hand is a part of our body. They're connected. It's really cool. And I feel like they're analogous to one another. The way that our hand heals is analogous to the way that our brain heals, is analogous to the way that our mind can heal. And when you look at nature, kind of writ large, it also has this inclination to healing. It also follows that direct path. So ultimately, healing is possible. We make decisions which influence whether things heal, at what rate they heal, how quick they heal, how slow they heal, if they just kind of stay the way they are. Of course, different injuries have different prognoses, but ultimately they all still have some sort of progression. So with that, it was just some food for thought. You may digest it, you may not. But if you made it this far, I love you. And yeah, guys, healing is a very wonderful subject, beautiful thing, and it's possible. So hang in there. All right, much love.